Joan of Arc, also known as Jeanne d'Arc or Jehanne d'Arc, was born around 1412 and became a patron saint of France. She is honored as a defender of the French nation for her role in the Siege of Orleans and her insistence on the coronation of Charles VII of France during the 100 Years' War. Claiming to act under divine guidance, she transcended gender roles and gained recognition as a military leader and savior of France. Joan was born to a propertied peasant family in Domremy, northeast France. In 1428, she requested to be taken to Charles VII, testifying that she was guided by visions from the Archangel Michael, Saint Margaret, and Saint Catherine. She believed her mission was to help save France from English domination. Charles, convinced of her devotion and purity, sent Joan, then about 17 years old, to the Siege of Orleans as part of a relief army. Arriving in April 1429, Joan wielded her banner and brought hope to the demoralized French army. 9 days later, the English abandoned the siege. Encouraged by this victory, Joan urged the French to aggressively pursue the English during the Loire campaign, which culminated in another decisive victory at Patay. This opened the way for the French army to advance on Reims unopposed, where Charles was crowned as King of France with Joan at his side. These victories significantly boosted French morale, setting the stage for their eventual triumph in the 100 Years' War. Following Charles's coronation, Joan participated in the unsuccessful siege of Paris in September 1429 and the failed siege of La Chérite in November. Her role in these defeats diminished the court's faith in her. In early 1430, Joan organized a company of volunteers to relieve Compiègne, besieged by the Burgundians, French allies of the English. Captured by Burgundian troops on May 23, Joan was handed over to the English in November. After several failed escape attempts, she was put on trial by Bishop Pierre Cauchon on accusations of heresy. The charges included blaspheming by wearing men's clothes, acting upon visions that were deemed demonic, and refusing to submit her actions to the judgment of the Church. She was declared guilty and burned at the stake on May 30, 1431, at about 19 years old. In 1456, an inquisitorial court reinvestigated Joan's trial and overturned the verdict, declaring it tainted by deceit and procedural errors. Joan has since been revered as a martyr, an obedient daughter of the Roman Catholic Church, and a symbol of freedom and independence. After the French Revolution, she became a national symbol of France. In 1920, Joan of Arc was canonized by the Roman Catholic Church and, 2 years later, was declared one of the patron saints of France. Her story has been portrayed in numerous cultural works, including literature, music, paintings, sculptures, and theater. Joan of Arc's name was written in various forms, with no standard spelling before the 16th century. Her last name was usually written as d'Arc without an apostrophe, though variants such as Tarc, Dart, or Day also appeared. Her father's name was written as Tart during her trial. She was called Jeanne de Domremy in Charles VI's 1429 letter granting her a coat of arms. Joan may never have heard herself called Jeanne d'Arc, as the first written record of this name appeared in 1455, 24 years after her death. Joan was not taught to read or write in her childhood and dictated her letters. She may later have learned to sign her name, as some letters bear her signature, and she may even have learned to read. Joan referred to herself in letters as Jeanne la Pucelle, Joan the Maiden, or simply La Pucelle, the Maiden, emphasizing her virginity, and signed as Jehanne. In the 16th century, she became known as the Maid of Orleans.